I honestly don't know how men do it. The list that every woman has for her man is never ending and always changing. And most men will happily navigate that entire list if his balls are empty, his belly's full, and he's feeling pretty good about himself. But there are so many women that I know who want all of the perks and none of the work. But it doesn't work that way. It's a two-way street. Everyone's got to get something out of the deal. And I'm so getting kicked out of the girl gang for this, but ladies, it's not all about us. I mean, I wish it were, but it's not.
With this type of rhetoric, these modern women had kicked you out of the girl gang a long time ago.
If a guy can not text me back for 3 days, and then I leave them unread for 18 minutes, and I'm like, got him. I showed him. That must have been a rough 18 minutes. It's like two could play this game, but really are two people playing. If one of them doesn't give up, he doesn't care. So.
How many guys are you going to talk to at the singles party? 20. How many guys are you going to talk to at the singles event? 25.
Is it a mistake to go to a singles event again? Well, let's see.
Baddies to my left and my right.
Where are all the hot people? I was told that there would be all these attractive singles, and as far as I can tell, I'm the best looking person here.
I put the sex in sexy. I put the sex in sexy.
And yes, I did make a thirst trap on myself. It's only fair after having to go through that experience.
If that man has not answered your text for 3 to 4 business days, it's time for you to get a new man, sis. Why are you sitting around waiting for that text from him? A lot of y'all just sit around waiting to see if he's going to reply or message you or whatever it is. If he hasn't replied to you in the next business day, he is just not that interested in you. There's no way in hell he'll be that busy for 3 days not looking at his phone, not looking at your message. That's because he didn't want to reply. That's just that. And it's time for you to just go get a new man and start waiting on him. A lot of y'all be just like so delusional, like y'all don't know the real tea, the real answer to your question. And y'all do be knowing, y'all just don't want to, I think you guys don't want to, like, you know, see the truth or something, you know. But if nobody has told you, I'm going to tell you. I'll definitely tell you. Get yourself a new man that's going to answer you in 2-3 hours max. Not 3 to 5 business days.
Well, the funny thing about getting a new man is that y'all continue to get the same one. And so y'all go through the same problems over and over again because you did it to yourself.
This might be controversial, but I truly mean this only from a place of love. I am so tired of only being invited to my friends' engagement parties, weddings, bachelorette parties, baby showers. Literally the only thing we do in US to celebrate women is anything that has to do with getting married or having a baby. And I'm done with it. Like, you found your person or you're having a child, that should be gift enough. Instead, I feel like I want to be celebrating my friends for other accomplishments that actually have to do with them and their lives, like starting a business or getting promoted, leaving a toxic relationship, getting a new cat or dog, buying a house. Me and so many of my girlfriends froze our eggs in the past few years. Like, that should deserve a shower and a party more than having a baby. Like, we did it alone and it was expensive. If a baby gets one, why can't we for that? And like, don't get me wrong, I still want to celebrate my friends who are getting married, having kids. Like, I want to celebrate everything going on in the people I love's lives, but I just feel like our culture is so out of control where we only care about like things that have to do with this old patriarchal society of married and have kids as women. I just think we need to start normalizing celebrating women for more than just getting married and having kids, because there's a lot more to life than that.
Seems like you guys are just looking for another way, a more innovative way to have the attention on yourselves, which is just like a modern woman.
I do not do dating apps, and I'm really hoping in 2025 more people drop the dating apps and start meeting people in person. You guys know I just moved to Miami, and I love putting myself out there, and I think I found the perfect solution for me. Thursday's Events is a weekly event happening on Thursday across different cities across the world. Yes, across the world. And I just so happened to find one that was happening in Miami at the Sylvester located in Midtown. So I was like, you know what? Let's pop out. I want to come out. And it was packed. I arrived around 8 o'clock. It was called the Red Flags Party. This is what I was wearing. Super cute. I had a time. This place was so packed. Here's what the app looks like. This is completely non-sponsored. Like I said, they do events everywhere. So if you're looking to pop out, perhaps meet your boo, definitely check this out. I got about 3 numbers here. Let's see if it turns into something. But I really enjoyed it. So you go on the app, you find your city, you pay for a ticket. I paid about $15 for mine. 10 out of 10 experience.
Oh man. So going to a singles event is so humbling because you walk in and you're like, oh, ain't nobody in here got no mans. And then you start going up and talking to women and you realize that they're like, oh, no, you not him neither.
Hi, I wanted to make a very vulnerable post. This is something that's been in my heart for a while. And this is not looking for sympathy. I don't need sympathy comments. I think that's a word. I don't need those kind of comments. I just want to share what I'm experiencing and see if any other girls are experiencing this. So I am 28 years old. I'm not saying I'm not happy with the way my life is. I have accomplished so much. I've traveled the world, bought my own home. I bought my own car, furnished my own home, won Miss Indiana, went to Miss America. I've done some incredible things that a lot of people my age have not yet accomplished. So I'm very proud of myself. But if you asked me at 18 or 21 or even 25, if I expected to still be single at 28, I would have said no. I can't seem to get past the talking stage. I've dated so many different guys. I've dated guys that I have lowered my standards for. I have dated guys who I felt like maybe I wasn't up to their standards. I've dated men of all backgrounds, all different races, and I still keep getting the same thing. You're great. I'm just not ready. I'm not in a hurry to get married and have kids, but that is something that I want. I just feel like it's just not going to happen. And I don't need the comments, oh, your person's gonna come when you least expect it and blah 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 blah. I don't need to hear that. And I know it's all in God's timing, but I'm just kind of sick of dating. I keep getting the runaround of meeting a great guy, really liking him, and we'll date for 2 months, and then I bring up the dreaded what are we question. And it's the same thing. Oh my gosh, you're great. You're beautiful. You're this. You've accomplished so much. Blah, 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 blah. I'm just not ready. So you're not ready, but continue to pursue me. You continue to take me out to dinner and meet your friends and your family, and we want to take pictures together, and you want to do all this cute little couple stuff, but you're not ready to settle down. You don't want to put a label on it. Stop wasting my time. Why are we talking? Let's stop wasting each other's time. I truly don't understand. And I don't know if it is because of the state that I live in, Indiana. There aren't a lot of options here. The woman of color, it's harder to date because I am not the beauty standard in Indiana. The beauty standard in Indiana are blondes. Clearly not blonde. I'm a Black woman living in a predominantly white city. I notice when I go to Chicago or New York, or even out of the country, men approach me, men are talking to me, men are pursuing me. But here in Indiana, it is so hard. I want to know if any other girls are experiencing the same thing as a woman of color, or just as a woman in general. If you're getting the same runaround that you'll date for 2 months and then they hit you with it, I'm not ready. So then leave me alone. I don't get it.
I mean, they shouldn't be doing that, but at some point in time, you're wasting your own time by continuing. I don't even know how you guys do it. Like, y'all keep on running into the same type of man and then calling it the man's fault. I mean, at this point, you're talking about you lowered your standards. You probably actually didn't. It's probably just, oh, well, he doesn't have a master's degree. I really want a man with a master's degree. I'm lowering my standards because he has a bachelor's. That sort of thing. Oh, well, he's not necessarily 6 foot like I want. He's 5'11", but you know, maybe this is a sign from God. That sort of stuff. So y'all can talk amongst yourselves about what you're actually doing, but at the end of the day, you're wasting time.
Being a woman and trying to deal with men and mechanic shops to get something fixed or get estimates is single-handedly one of the worst experiences ever. Never really thought that I'd be on here in this kind of emotional state talking about this, but I just know that I'm not the only one. And I'm hoping that this reaches any side of TikTok that can help me maybe find a more affordable way to just fix this issue, because like I don't know. I have had a horrible experience literally the past 4 years that I've had my car. Like when it comes to having to fix something, like immediate anxiety. Like I have never been met with a man who is understanding, who is patient, who is nice or is kind and explains things to me when it comes to fixing my car at any dealership, at any mechanic shop, like at anything. Unless it's Discount Tire and they're putting air in my tires. Like they're literally the nicest people ever, but like anything else, just assholes. Like I don't understand if that's just a common thing across the car mechanic industry or what, but it's awful. There's this one place that I called. My headlamp is out, just so you guys know. My headlamp is out and I obviously need to get it replaced. There's this one parts store. It's called BAP Gion. And they're for like foreign cars. I have a BMW. Probably one of the worst financial decisions I've ever made in my life. Don't ever buy it for you. Anyway, so I call them and they're like, hey, can we put you on hold? I'm on hold for like 7 minutes. And so I hang up and I call back. As immediately when they answer, they're like, hey, we're gonna put you on hold. Just put me on hold. Didn't even like let me respond. So I hang up and I call again because I'm like, yo, like I just need an estimate. And so I call and he's like, hey, this is Justin, what do you need? And I'm like, hey, how are you? Like I wanted to know what it would cost to order these specific headlamps, this, whatever, that. And he was like, yeah, we can't order the headlamps. Like you would have to get it through the dealership and this and that. Like we can order other parts for the car, but the specific headlamps, like we can't order them. And so I was like, okay, like do you by chance know anywhere else where I could probably call, or can you refer me anywhere? And they were like, maybe this one place, but that's it. And I was like, oh, okay. Before I could even like finish saying, oh, okay, he hangs up the phone. Hangs up on me. Okay, cool. So I was like, you know what, let me just call BMW, let me see. Like I've had my car since 2020. I pay a ridiculous amount in monthly payments. I've fixed my car there multiple times. Like I've bought their packages for the oil change to try to make it more affordable for myself. Like I've given them a lot of my money. I'm right out of my warranty as well. And I know my headlamp was messed up before my warranty was out and they didn't want to do anything to help me with it. So anyway, I call them and the amount that they give me is so outrageous. For one headlamp to get replaced with the labor is $3,500. For both of them, over $5,000 to fix. So I'm like, okay, yeah, can't do that. So then I call this one auto part place in Midtown. It's called Silvio's Auto Shop. And it's right across like the Harry's restaurant. And I've had my car fixed there like 1 or 2 times. I don't even think I got it fixed there. I think I got like an oil change or something like that there a couple times. And the lady who first answered the phone was nice, but then this other guy got on the phone, rude as, I don't even know what his name was, but he was just like, Silvio's Auto Shop, like, what can we do for you? And I kind of tell him the same thing that I told the lady, and he was like, well, you would have to bring the car in for us to look at it. And I was like, okay, I get that, like, I understand, but like, is there any way you can still just give me an estimate of like how much is the headlamp, how much is the labor? Like, I know I'm gonna need a new headlamp. And he was like, yeah, we don't do business like that. That's not how we do business. And so you're gonna have to come in and you're gonna have to make an appointment. And I was like, okay. I was like, well, do you know like how long that might take? Because like I'm really busy and like I just need to know how I need to plan my day. Well, we're really busy as well. So you'll just have to bring your car. It's a first come first serve, just like a dealership, like literally like that. And I was like, yo, like I don't know what the hostility is for. I was just asking a question. He was like, well, no, I'm just telling you how it is that we work here. And I was like, what the Is it because you know it's a woman on the phone that you're talking to me like I'm stupid? Because I feel like they wouldn't talk to another man on the phone like that. Like, anyway, he was like, so do you want to make an appointment? And I was like, I'll just call back. I'll call back to make an appointment. Hangs up on me. Anyway, yeah, so that all happened in a span of like 30 minutes, 45 minutes. 3 different dealership, car mechanic shops, or like part stores, talking to men on the phone. Like, it's just the customer service, the hostility, the way that they speak to you. I don't know. I'm very taken back by how I've been spoken to this morning and just like dismissed and everything. Yeah, none of that felt good at all.
Dude, Bap Gian does that to everyone. Bap Gian does that to everyone. If you're not coming in person, if you ain't a mechanic and you don't know what you're talking about, you're not going to survive. You're going to be waiting. Those people have so many people in their face every single day on the phone. Click, 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 click. It's nothing personal. It's just they have people. They're answering the same question over and over again all the time. This is what life looks like. You wanted to be a boss babe. You wanted to be a girl boss. This is what it freaking looks like. And I'm not glad this is happening to you, but I'm glad this has come up as an example. So when women talk about the things that men don't do in the house, that, oh, you don't help out with the domestic labor, or you don't help out enough. This is what men are doing outside of the home. This right here, while they're sitting at work, while they're on lunch break, while they're headed somewhere around town, this is the kinds of thing that they're doing. Keep on trying to tell, it can't be like that. You're sitting here in tears because it is like that.
I keep seeing people losing it over this new data on young men. If you haven't seen the data yet, it shows that a sharply declining number of American boys believe that women should have the same job opportunities as men, or that they should be paid the same for the same work. And I keep seeing people come on here like, parents, what are you doing wrong? What's wrong with your sons? And I just want to ask, if you were told for decades that you're dangerous, that you're privileged, that maybe you're sexist and you don't even know it, wouldn't you overcorrect eventually? We've made men the butt of the jokes for years now. What did you think was going to happen? To be clear, I don't love these trends, and there's a lot that concerns me about the radicalization with young men. All we have to do is look to South Korea and their declining gender dynamics and what that's doing to the marriage rates and the birth rates to see that we don't want that to happen here. But if you don't think that this is 100% understandable, then you haven't been paying attention. Anytime you treat a group like villains, they can only bend so far before they break, and usually it ends up with an overcorrection like this. Tell boys they're misogynistic, and eventually they're going to start identifying that way. Which is why this reaction of, well, what's wrong with the boys is so wrong. You're doubling down on exactly this line of thinking that got us here.
As I say a lot in my videos, you don't really understand what you're doing. Like, because men leave y'all alone for the most part, then y'all don't really understand the power, like the actual power of a man. Because a man just kind of walks around and he just kind of leaves you alone. You scream in his face, you cuss him out, you spit on him. He goes and wipes it off, eats pizza, you laugh, you clown him on TikTok and all that stuff. You really don't understand the entirety of a man's strength. But once a man says, you know what? You know, if this were my friend, we would have been and settled it. We would have reestablished boundaries, or if we couldn't have done that, we'd have gone our separate ways. Sometimes friends do put hands on each other, but in that they reestablish boundaries and they say, okay, my bad, I'm sorry about that. And now we're friends. But you guys, y'all don't want to be friends. Y'all not trying to have or hear any boundaries when it comes to a man. Y'all will do it with your girls, but when it comes to a man, y'all will be disrespectful. Y'all will walk all over him. And when the man says enough is enough, I don't want to be a part of this. Now you're afraid. Now you're worried. This is what men been trying to tell you this whole time.
Look, I want to cook. I want to clean. I want to make sure you're taken care of. All you got to do is go to work. All you got to do is go to work. By the time you get home, I will have a fresh towel for you, ready for you in the restroom. I will even pick out your clothes if you want me to. And you'll just have to take a shower. By the time you get out of the shower, I will have dinner ready for you. And it would be one of your favorite dishes, whatever it is. Tostadas, if you want a steak and shrimp, whatever you want, I'm all for it. I love to serve. I love to take care of my man. Now, you don't have to do any kind of laundry. I don't expect you to sweep. I don't expect you to clean. I don't expect you to do dishes. I don't want you to do any of that. I'm taking care of that. You know, that's my job as a woman. I actually felt that with my ex-husband, I never let him touch anything because I felt that that's my job. And it was embarrassing for me for him to even touch the dishes. So you don't have to worry about that. Now, what do I require in return? Don't lie to me. Don't lie to me. And be respectful towards me. I don't expect you to be over there liking other women's pictures or their videos, because you're going to get plenty of intimacy with me 3-4 times a day. My ex-husband, he was very happy, but he messed it up. He didn't appreciate everything that I did. But I'm hoping that my husband, my future husband, will, because I want to give you king treatment. You know, other women will be against that you don't have to serve a man and you don't have to. I'm not with the feminist movement. I actually believe that women are meant to be the partner of their husband, to be the helper. And that's what I want to be. I want to take care of you. I want to make sure that you're taken care of. If you have a long, stressful day, come talk to me. I will listen. And if you want me to give you feedback, I will give you feedback. But I want to take care of you. All I'm asking is just don't lie. Be respectful towards me. I'm not even asking you for money. Is that so hard?
You know, I really can respect this. Most of these modern women would have been then gone off the rails and talked about sprinkle.
People always ask me why I'm single, so here's an example. This guy unmatched with me so quick before I could even screenshot our conversation, so I've replicated it for your viewing pleasure. So he was in finance, so I said, I've been looking for a guy in finance. He said, oh, why is that? I said, oh, LOL, have you not seen that TikTok? He said, no, I'm not on TikTok much. I said, oh, haha, well, even David Guetta sampled it. He says, I'm not on TikTok. I said, well, David Guetta is an artist. And then he unmatched with me.
The other day, a man looked me in the face and said, Aubrey.
I'm almost 100% sure a man did not tell her anything she's about to tell us right now. Viewer discretion is advised.
Why are there so many single women like you in their 30s who complain about how awful it is to date, how bad the modern day dating pool is? Because I'm a man, I'm single in my 30s, I have no kids, and I have so many options out here.
I feel what I told you. Ain't no man come up there and say none of this. They just on here making fake stories to prove their point so they can continue to push their narrative. They don't even talk like that. Hey, Aubrey, why are women in their 30s complaining about dating when I'm in my 30s and I'm dating and I have no kids and I have so many options? Like, does that really sound like some man would come up to a woman and just say, just like unprovoked, he just want to have this kind of conversation with her? Don't give a f that women are struggling in the dating field. Who cares?
You guys just have to, pick better men. And then he said something along the lines of relationships being a walk in the park or something like that.
This been making a story up right before our eyes, but just watch the video. She's making this up. That nobody ever spoke to her.
And I'm over here like, what park are you walking through? Because I'm trekking through Jurassic Park with a machete. I'm glad that you're strolling through Central Park enjoying the scenery, but women are out here fighting for our lives.
Let's play devil's advocate here. She feels as if she's trekking through a dinosaur-infested park while men are walking through Central Park, and that's her relation to dating, right? But I'm sure at no point in time will she admit to the fact that she just can't get what she wants, and whatever is left is what she has to choose from. One of the most humbling things and one of the most hardest things to digest is accepting the fact that you're not who you think you are. So for example, you ever seen an athlete have a really tough time like going to the bench? In his mind, he's like, yo, I can do all these things. Why are they playing with me like this? But reality consistently shows him you are not that guy anymore. You gotta go to the bench. That's exactly what's happening with women, but the only difference is the thought process and the expectation is on steroids. Plus, they've never actually performed at the high level that they think they have. They've never obtained any of these guys that they say that they deserve. So although reality is consistently telling them you are not who you think you are, they can get on social media and get validation from random women and even random men that will feed their mind with a whole bunch of that's not really coming to fruition in their real life.
Hey, in theory, I agree with you. Women should pick better men. But you want to know what that would require? That would require men to, be better.
Even if they were better, you still would not be able to obtain them, and that's the biggest issue at hand. That's what you're facing. You refuse to acknowledge it, but that's what's keeping you from getting exactly what you want. Your ability to obtain said man. But like any other video, I know y'all not gonna listen to me because I am just a normal guy. Y'all keep the change.
I mean, as an old head, you probably have, 10 minutes, start playing, and you're probably going to start being the mentor of the team, right? So I get my 10 minutes, I play, 5 points, maybe a steal, have a breakout game when all of the stars are hurt, then I might get 30 points for the night. But pretty much the sun is setting on my career, and I know that. Modern women don't seem to understand that the sun is setting on their career.
One thing you can never do is rely on a man. Okay? Like, I'm starting to think, like, genuinely, what are men good for? Okay? The other day, I posted on my Instagram story, like, hey, my TaskRabbit canceled. Anyone want to help me put together this dresser? Because I bought this dresser and it ended up coming in, like, the next day, and I was not putting that. Hired a TaskRabbit. He canceled on me like an hour before, and I really wanted that dresser done like that day because I didn't want it laying in my apartment anymore. So I kindly put on my Instagram story like, hey, like, somebody want to come help me put this dresser together? Like, make some money. Just takes a couple hours. I'll help you with it too. And to my surprise, the amount of men who just slid up on my story like, you're a strong, independent woman. Like, I think you can handle this one. I think you got this one on your own. I don't remember asking if I was a strong, independent woman. I remember asking, who's gonna come over and put this damn dresser together so that I don't have to do it? I literally was so shocked. I was like, some people, like, you're a man. Like, this is your job to build stuff. Use some drills and screws and screwdrivers. Like, that ain't my job, okay? I do the pink jobs, okay? I'll decorate it afterwards, but you're doing the dirty work of putting this together. And it's not like I was expecting anybody to do it for free, but yeah, they all were saying that. I was like, y'all literally are useless for nothing. Like, I ain't putting this does not have my name on it. But yeah, if you want to know, I did end up finding a friend to help me, but he didn't finish. One, I paid him, he didn't finish, and two, he farted in my face while he was there because he asked. So yeah, I really learned my lesson there.
And the lesson that you learned once again is that you're a victim.
I just want to know why all the people at the singles ministry events look like they can be my uncle or something. Y'all don't want to come to these events? There's no attractive people around my age that want to come to these events. As soon as you walk in, all you hear is, hey, sweetie, you maybe we should go to brunch sometimes. No, Uncle Charles, no, I don't want to. Maybe I'm at the wrong one.
Last Saturday, on June 28th, my wife went out with a friend who was recently divorced. She invited my wife out to a brewery for a fundraiser, and she had told me that she would be gone from about 4 to 8. She took our youngest to their house to play with her friend's child, who are the same age, and their teenage daughter who was going to watch them. Fast forward to 9-ish, and I haven't heard from her. I know they left the brewery and apparently decided to go bar hopping to find her man. Ooh. Okay. Not a big deal to me. I'm comfortable with her being a wingman anytime. Around 11, I text her to see how it's going. And again, looking for a man for the friend. I send back the laugh emoji and a thumbs up. Crickets until 1 a.m. She says my son is asleep and she is sleeping there, and she's being the designated driver. I doubt that, but my wife is pretty good at pacing herself. At this point, I find it really odd that she wouldn't just wake up our kid and come home at 1 a.m. So I get curious and check to see where her car is. It's a newer car, so the app shows the location, and they're at another bar until about 1:30. This is where it gets uncomfortable for me. They leave and go to a random house, nowhere near her friend's house or anything. I find it a little odd. Her car doesn't leave from that point on. Around 2:30, I decide that I need to do some recon. It's about a 20-minute drive, but away from town. I drive out there, and there's a house and barn and clearly a party going on. I get out and get close enough that I can hear people and music, but not close enough to really see because it was a gravel driveway and I didn't want to make noise. So I sit around for about an hour deciding how I should handle the situation. Do I wait until Sunday and ask her how everything went last night? and what time they got in and see if she lies to me? Or do I confront the situation? Around 3:30, I decide I need to just drive up and see what happens. I pull up with my lights off. Nobody notices because of the music. I peek into the barn and there's a camper trailer with no lights on. I go over to the house and see my wife's friend and two guys talking. I peek in the window and nobody else is visible. I walk in the front door and say I'm looking for my wife. And the two guys look surprised, and one guy introduces himself. I was happy it didn't get confrontational. My wife's friend immediately walks out and takes me over to a different camper trailer and walks in and shuts the door, and I quickly hop in there and my wife is sleeping on the bed. So we go outside and I'm like, I just had to make sure my wife is safe, but explain that I don't think it's okay that a married person would meet random guys and go to their house. There is some other dialogue, but for the sake of time, I'll spare some of that. But basically, I peace out and just say that I'm mostly upset that they would leave my child unaccompanied all night, and if they wanted to go bar hopping all night, I wouldn't really care, but I don't think married couples should be in a position like this, because they spent the whole night there. Next morning, at 7:30 a.m., my wife texts me and says that they're at my wife's friend's house. So she comes home around 2 p.m. on Sunday, and I walk in with my other kids, and she's like, "Are you still mad at me for falling asleep?" I didn't say anything to her, and we had a sports barbecue that I ended up being at until about 9 p.m. with my kids, and she was asleep when I got home. I got up early this morning and went to work. Am I the a-hole, or am I too crazy for confronting the situation? Part of the reason I decided to drive out there is that in June 2024, my wife was on a work trip to New York City and she had a stroke in her hotel room, and her coworkers called me at 6 a.m. the next morning to ask if I had heard from my wife, and I said no. I tracked her through Find My iPhone and she was at the hospital. Her family has a history of strokes, her sister at 35 and her brother at 33, and her dad at 40. So I'm cautious of her going out without me.
The funny thing is, you're cautious, but she's not. She clearly doesn't care nothing about no stroke. She don't care nothing about the medical stroke. She probably cares about a backstroke.
What if you're not a 10 and you're on like a first date with a man? Okay, just give him attention. Act like you like him. Men can't even tell a difference if it's genuine or not. I don't even know if they're trying to tell a difference. I don't think they care. If you give a man attention, they take it and run with it.
I mean, you could like him, like genuinely like him.
I see what the men are talking about now. Women need to know that they're losers. Y'all have been arguing with me in the comments for 2 days straight about how Lotto being with the man that is married to the mother of his kids is an arrangement and it's okay because it's not real. He just needs citizenship. And then y'all come back on here with 20-minute 3-part story times about how you got done so dirty. But you're saying it's okay to be with a man who's married because he told you it's an arrangement with a woman he has kids with. Y'all are losers. Y'all are the same woman that says that Cardi B can have as many kids as she wants because she has money. And then y'all come over here and turn around and say how your mother was emotionally not present for you and they had no time for you and blah, blah, blah. Because you know in your mind it takes more than money. Y'all complain that your father's absent. You know it takes more than money. But when the next person does it, it's okay for her to ruin her kid's life because she got money. That's one of your faves. Then y'all blaming it on the men saying, well, these are only men we have to choose from. Babe, I've never been with a man with 6 kids to 6 women and held him down in jail. And I'm married and my husband does not have a girlfriend. That is not everybody's life. I don't know what the f- y'all are talking about. So y'all sit and y'all condone and entertain gutter rat behavior because you think because somebody has money that they can do whatever they want. Whole time this is trifling as hell. Trifling as hell. Like, y'all are fucking losers. You need to be told about yourself. That is the most loser behavior. Stop.
I used to date a guy that had a really hard time saying no. He was a big people pleaser and he would just get really nervous. It was just a really hard thing for him to be like assertive. And there was a period in my life that was really, really hard. And I went to the dealership because the car that I had was starting to break down. It was one that I had since I was 18. It was like an old Toyota, and I just put too much money into it that it didn't make sense to keep trying to fix it. And so at the time, I had just lost a pregnancy, and my grandma was diagnosed with cancer. She has since passed, but around that time, I felt really lost and uncertain and unsure of myself, and I've usually had a really strong grip on identity. And so I had just gotten out of the gym and we stopped by the dealership just to look at cars. And then I saw one that I really liked. And you guys know dealership, salesmen, they're pushy. And so I thought I could handle myself because I've never had a problem saying no. Or, you know, I no longer had that problem. And, you know, he kept pushing, like using all the sales tactics. And I just remember not feeling good. I didn't feel good on the decision, but I just kept saying, well, if he thought it was a bad idea, he would tell me, because there's many things that I've saved him from, like scams and these shortcuts. Like I was the one to tell him, like, this is a bad idea, don't do it, this is a fraud. And I ended up being right. So I figured when it was like my turn to be in the gutter, he would do it. But he didn't. He just sat back, said nothing, and I kind of just handled everything on my own. And so that purchase put me in a really bad place when my grandma's progression got worse. There was a lot of medical issues I was dealing with from everything that lasted for like a year. And I wasn't working as much. And then we'd have unexpected things to pay for. And so I remember that bill just being a great stress where I was like, I wish I didn't get this car. And he was like, oh, well, yeah, I knew you shouldn't have gotten it. And I was like, why didn't you say anything? And then again, it's just like, well, I didn't want to say anything. I was like, it's your decision. And I was like, yeah, but I have stepped in so many times for you when you were doing really decisions that cost you thousands of dollars because you didn't listen to me. And then other times I've completely stopped you from doing that. And so I was so upset because I was like, I give you my opinion when I think you're about to make a bad decision, but you can't do the same thing for me because you're too afraid. And I lost so much respect for him. It's something that happened twice. And although it was my decision ultimately, I felt like he wasn't reliable. Like I was alone in a lot of things, because partnerships, it's like when one person is down, the other person is there to support the other. And that's how we're able to help each other. And so I just felt like I can't be down. I constantly have to be on top of shit. And also on top of your shit. And so I was really frustrated. It's one of the things that led to us not working out, because it's not something that ever changed. And so that's one of the reasons that being able to have the courage to speak your mind is not just for you, but it's for your family. Because if you can't do it with your partner, you're gonna have a hard time stepping in and advocating for your kids. It's not a skill that will just magically pop up when you need it to. You're not gonna have the balls for a big situation when you don't have the balls for little situations. And of course this applies to women too, but in my case, I'm a woman. So it was one of those things where I realized, like, this is why learning this skill is so important, because so many women don't respect the men they're with because of stuff like that. Because they feel like they have to be alone. And when I was pregnant and I started to bleed before we went to the hospital, I remember I broke down. I was terrified. And I ran upstairs and I crawled into his arms and I was like, I'm bleeding. And I started to sob uncontrollably. And then his response was he just yelled really loudly and went to go punch the wall. I immediately just shut down. I stopped crying and I completely disassociated because of the reaction that he was having. And so I then had to be the one to say, it's okay, let's go to the hospital, or let's look up like what to do, is this normal? And so then I had to go back into this more masculine leadership role, because his reaction was just like, it was explosive, and it immediately, like, we can't both be a mess. We cannot both be a mess. And so since he didn't stay calm in that situation, I was the one. It was natural. It was just a natural thing that happens a lot of the times. I just remember that being one of so many interactions where I knew I was alone in it. I felt alone in it, where I had to be the leader. I had to be the logical one. I wasn't allowed to fall apart because the person I was with wasn't strong enough to contain that. And so, yeah, I lost so much respect. I didn't feel like I could trust him. And it made me feel like I was about to start a family with someone who wasn't capable of having one. And so I guess that's one positive of everything that happened. But it's also one of the biggest reasons that I do what I do. Men don't feel good not feeling capable, but also women feel completely alone in those situations, in those high pressure situations. And it's one of those moments where, you know, a woman really cannot be soft and feminine if you cannot contain it. And it's not a measure of like, it's the man's fault that she is this way, but there is a reason why more passive feminine men tend to attract more masculine women, because they know they can't lead, and so they find someone who can. And then for women, I know that there's safety in being with someone that you can control. There's safety in being with someone that's super agreeable, like the nice guy, but you're actually not setting yourself up to give yourself what you need when you really need it. Because for the moments that matter the most, that person's not going to be able to show up for you. Like, it's easy to sweep the arguments under the rug. It's easy to sweep the small things, like, oh, he never follows through, or he's not going to take out the trash can, or whatever your fights may be. But it's harder to ignore the bigger ones, and they will come, because that's just life. And so I think so many people make decisions out of safety, but you're not really safe. That's the illusion. That's the part that's really hard for people to see, is that you're basing your decisions off of something that is not true. And so you're just suffering for really no reason other than like temporary comfort. And I get that being with men who are great leaders and are more masculine and independent can be scary, especially when you're independent, because that's not a person that's always going to agree with you or compromise for you. Sometimes you're the one who's going to have to compromise, and that can be scary when you're not used to doing it. It can feel like you're being submissive. It can feel like you're losing your strength, but that's not really true. And so I wouldn't let the fear of being with that person cause you to settle or cause you to fall into comfort, because it may not be the most comfortable relationship, but it's the one where you're going to grow in, and it's the one where you're actually going to get your needs met, not your wants met. Because sometimes we confuse what we need with what we want, and we don't really know what we need. But if you're going to want something, at least want the thing that you need.
Dude in the comments said she's mad because she made a bad decision and blamed it on him. That's insane. Bro dodged a bullet. Another dude said, did she just blame him for her making a bad decision? Yes. Modern women, because they hate accountability, they swear it off, they fend it off at every chance they get, will make every excuse as to why they couldn't do the right thing.
I recently did a video where I was asking men to be more emotionally available and vulnerable in their partnerships. And the response that I heard most was that if they do that, then it'll be weaponized against them. And that made me really sad to see that. And yet I know that happens. I've experienced that happening. So I want to say, ladies, if you're wanting a good relationship, you want a relationship that is more honest and emotionally vulnerable. And if your partner comes to you and says they're struggling with something, whether work, financial pressure, something with the kids, something with their family, and you tell them to get over it or up, then you are closing the space for the man in your life to be emotionally vulnerable, because they're only going to do that a couple times. It's like putting your hand on the stove and you get burnt and you're not going to do it again. So if I'm asking men to be emotionally available, to be vulnerable, to be honest, ladies, I want you to be listening to that, to be empathetic, to be curious about it, to try to understand it, and definitely do not weaponize it against the men.
The response to a lot of men sharing their stories is men used to go to war. Just something random and stupid.
Okay, I think you guys are not gonna like what I have to say, but I'm seeing so many comments around single solutions and rings, bracelets, would you be open, that whole conversation we're having. A lot of men, are like, it doesn't really matter because she's not going to come to me anyway. I'm done. I refuse to go up to a woman now. Like, we've changed, and that's not how it is anymore. And women need to come to men, and the only way it'll work is if women approach men. I don't like it. I don't like it. I don't know. It's weird to me. Am I just old school? I just can't imagine. Is that what you want? I mean, I guess it's flattering, but like that dynamic to start off, that, I don't know. I think there's other ways, right? Is there other ways? Is this what we want? That's what you want? I don't like it. I have to be honest, I don't like it. I don't want to, no, you come to me. Nope.
And they say men don't know how to adapt. Okay.
Guys, don't come for me, but when a girl says that she doesn't drink coffee when you suggest a coffee date, what she's saying without saying it is she ain't going for that coffee date and she wants you to book something else. So put some effort in, figure it out, or don't go out with her.
Is there a way that y'all can use y'all's mouth to say, well, you know, I don't know, I'm not really a big coffee drinker. Oh, really? Yeah, they got tea. What do you like? Actually, first of all, what do you like? I like tea. Well, they got tea there. I can get you some tea. Oh, okay. End of story. Done deal. Problem solved. But because y'all want to create problems and y'all want the problems to be the problems, because without the problems, then nobody's buying your movie. Y'all keep up nonsense.